Hey, you! Do you know what the actual first muscle car ever was? Do you know what happened with the Dodge Demon serial number 666? Do you know which American muscle was sold in Germany under the name T5 and why? Hey guys, I'm Stipe, and this is 101 of the most interesting facts about muscle cars. Let's do this thing.
That's what she said.
Number 1, Dodge Demon, you know, that road-legal drag racer, was limited to just 3,300 units, so each one has this little air vent nameplate with its serial number on it. And this got me thinking, who's got the number 666? You know, the evilest number, that whole thing? Nobody. That's who. Dodge knew that this would unfairly jack up the resale price of just this one car, so they decided to skip it. The one that was supposed to be 666 was christened to all zeros instead, and Dodge kept it for themselves.
Oh no, we should be scared of this car.
Number 2, nearly 50 years before this Demon, there was another one, the Dart Demon. In the early 70s, its name and the badge angered the Christian group so much that they forced Dodge to rename it to the Dodge Dart Sport.
Lame.
Number 3, many consider the 1964 Pontiac GTO to be the first muscle car. That's not true. The GTO did kickstart the muscle car craze, but performance coupes with large V8s existed before. Take this 59 Plymouth Fury, for example, or the 1960 Chrysler 300, or even the Oldsmobile 88 Rocket from 1949, which is actually the first muscle car. Number 4, what we call muscle cars today were originally called supercars.
What?
Ever wonder what this SC on the AMC Rambler is? And no, it isn't supercharger. Anyway, it wasn't until the mid-60s when the journalist Brock Yates first described the GTO as a muscle car, and the term stuck ever since.
Oh, it's like the word influencer for today.
Number 5.
By the way, the Pontiac GTO was intentionally named after the fastest race car in the world, the Ferrari 250 GTO. It was supposed to show that you can get the same kind of performance for a lot less money. There was even the whole car and driver article comparing the two. The article, which was sponsored by Pontiac, full disclosure, so you could guess who won. And it was totally unfair. First, the Pontiac GTO that was sent was a highly tuned version with the large engine you couldn't even get from the factory. And second, the magazine couldn't get a hold of the rare Ferrari. So they just made up some slower numbers and declared Pontiac the winner. The article spread like wildfire, and the readers went crazy for the American GTO. Makes you wonder if the whole muscle car era would even happened if it wasn't for this marketing ploy. Number 6, smaller, lighter, better handling muscle cars were called the pony cars, and the first one was not the Mustang. It was actually the Plymouth Barracuda, which came out 2 weeks earlier. But as with the Pontiac GTO, it's not about who does it first, but who makes it popular. Maybe because the CUDA premiered literally on April Fool's Day, so nobody took it seriously. Number 7, since its introduction, Ford sold over 10 million Mustangs, which makes it the best-selling performance car of all time. Mind you, Camaro and the Challenger are in the top 10 too. Number 8, Ford tried to sell Mustang in Europe too, but there was a problem. The Mustang name was already taken by some truck manufacturer, so Ford named it after its internal project development name, the T5. Number 9. Also, the Mustang was very nearly not a Mustang in the United States either. Other names that were considered were the Allegro, the Torino, and the Cougar. They even made a Cougar badge for it.
It's a picture of your mom.
Number 10. In the end, it was named the Mustang, after the wild horse, which symbolizes the free spirit of the Wild West. However, if you ask its designer, John Najjar, the name Mustang originally came from the World War II Mustang P-51 fighter plane, of which he was a huge fan. Ford never admitted the connection, although they did often do photo shoots with the plane and later even added this ground speed on the tachometer, as opposed to what? Airspeed on the P-51? Just admit it, Ford. It's not like we're asking you to come out of the closet. Number 11, speaking of Speedos, the Pontiac GTO had its rev gauge mounted on the hood. The Tempest, on which the GTO is based, didn't have a rev gauge. So rather than engineering a new dashboard, they just did this. It worked. It was cool as hell. And it was cheaper too, although Pontiac would never admit that.
According to them, it was a safety feature. You know, so you can keep your eyes on the road.
Sure. Number 12, is this Challenger a proper muscle car? I mean, it looks the part, but it's got a V6 and an all-wheel drive. Or this Monte Carlo SS, which has a V8, but then a front-wheel drive? How about the El Camino, which is a Chevy Chevelle, but a truck? Still yes? Then what if it's built in Australia? Does it count then? What I'm trying to say is that the muscle car definition is a loose one. Generally, they are mid-size, two-door American coupes with rear-wheel drives, 4 seats, and big V8s. But you know, sometimes they're not. Number 13, the car-based trucks like the El Camino and the Ford Ranchero pretty much died out in the United States during the 80s, but they continued thriving in Australia. Over there, they're called utes, short for utility. And let me tell you, some of them were quite insane. Look at the size of the wing on this Maloo, or the sheer ridiculousness of combining the sporty Ford Falcon with the chassis cab. What? Lastly, the final boss form of the Aussies utes, the Maloo W1 GTRS with 668 horsepower Corvette engine, racing suspension, and $1 million price tag. Kick yourself in the dick, Jesus Christ. Number 14, aside from the United States and Australia, muscle cars were a thing in South Africa too. The Chevy Forenza Can-Am, Ford Capri Piranha V8, and the Sierra XR8 were built for and sold only in South Africa. Number 15, Europe and Asia were never fertile grounds for muscle cars. That T5 Mustang, in 9 years, Ford managed to sell less than 5,000 of them. The main reason? Fuel cost. Gas, or should I say petrol, in Europe is much more expensive, and American muscle cars aren't exactly known for being frugal. Here's just a couple examples. That 289 Mustang T5, 13 to maybe 17 miles per gallon. Hemi Cuda, 9 to 12. A modern Hellcat, well, 13 to 21. The new Mustang 5.0 GT isn't bad because it can shut off half the cylinders and runs a straight 4, so it does 18 to 23, but you get the idea. If it drinks more than your stepdad, Europeans won't want it. Number 16, there was a time when voracious muscle cars were a hard sell in the US too. I'm no history or politics channel, but some shit hit the fan in this region of the world, and suddenly there was a shortage of fuel in America. Most muscle cars simply went out of production, and those that stayed were completely different sorts of cars. The Mustang was downsized inside and out. The Dodge Challenger was a rebadged Mitsubishi, and this Camaro had a 90 horsepower engine from a mail truck. Allegedly, it did 0 to 60 in 20 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Number 17, even if you were a baller during these high fuel price times, you were still out of luck. Around the same time, new stricter emission laws were passed, and to comply with them, all those powerful V8 engines were detuned down to embarrassingly low numbers. Take this Mustang II King Cobra, for example. It had the sporty body kit, had a big FU Cobra on the hood, and under it, a 5-liter V8, which made just 140 horsepower. That's 28 horses per liter. This lawnmower makes more. Number 18, the exciting levels of power would finally return with the 1987 Buick GNX, the Darth Vader of the muscle car world. And I'm not saying that just because of the front grille and the fact that it could be only had in black, but because instead of having a V8 like a proper muscle car should, this Buick was powered by a turbo V6. In the muscle car world, turbocharging comes from the forbidden
dark side.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Number 19, thanks to this turbo power, the GNX was the fastest car you could buy in America at the time. Forget about all the other muscle cars, not even a Ferrari F40 could beat it down a quarter mile. This is strange since the GNX was officially rated at 280 horsepower, but you should know that was a lie meant to protect the Corvette. In reality, the GNX was way more powerful. Number 20, the Ferrari-beating Buick GNX, Darth Vader, was developed with the help of McLaren. Now, you might be thinking, oh, McLaren beating a Ferrari? What else is new? Yeah, it's not the British McLaren which competes in the F1, but the McLaren Performance Technologies from Warren, Michigan. That's what's new. Number 21, if you want a British McLaren-tuned muscle car, then take a look at this very wide, very orange Mustang M81. Never heard of it? Probably because there are only 10 of them ever made. Number 22, muscle cars have gone through 3 eras so far. Come at me, bro, if you want to argue with that. The classic golden age from 1964 to 1973, when the fuel was cheap and the new models were coming out every few months. The malaise era, which was dominated by new emissions laws and the oil crisis. Big engines were hugely detuned and later replaced with smaller turbocharged ones. And finally, the modern era, which saw the return of Mustang, Camaro, and the Challenger, which pushed not just the power figures to new limits, but learned how to properly handle too. Number 23, although Shelby is mostly associated with Fords, during the 80s he tuned some of the Chrysler products too, like this Dodge Omni GLH, which stands for Goes Like Hell, and later the Charger GLH-S goes like hell some more. Number 24, when it came to naming Shelby Mustangs, Carroll wasn't too creative. Some name was needed, so he sent one employee to count the number of steps from the race shop to the production floor. The guy came back with 347 steps, so Shelby rounded it to 350, and that was that. Carroll's reasoning was, who cares? The car makes the name, not the other way around. Honestly, can't disagree with you, big guy. Number 25, classic muscle cars were cheap, really cheap. The 1964 Pontiac GTO was just $2,847. That's around 29 grand in today's money. The GT350, $3,800. Meanwhile, the modern 2025 version starts at $110K. Even when adjusted for inflation, this is a huge, huge difference. Man, those boomers had it easy. Number 26, Chevelle SS had the coolest air intake ever, and that is a fact. At the base of the windshield, there was this cowl induction flap, which opens to let in more cool air when you step on it. It was mostly just a gimmick that did hardly anything other than look cool. But wouldn't you want one too? Number 27, like with every other country, Japanese police also have a fleet of high-performance models. They used everything from Nissan Zs to WRX Imprezas, Skyline GTRs, NSXs, you know, the usual. What wasn't usual is that from 1974 to 1983, they also used a Mach 1 Mustang. There was even a manga about it. Number 28, pistol grip shifters are the most American thing ever. And that also is a fact.
Facts!
These were invented by Hurst, but since 1970, you could have certain muscle cars with these pew-pew shifters straight from the Dodge factory. Number 29, Hurst also invented the T-top roofs for the Pontiac Firebirds. It was such a popular aftermarket modification that Pontiac started offering them from the factory too. Number 30, another popular thing on Firebirds was having the big flamin' bird, aka the screamin' chicken on the hood. Some say it's the most recognizable automobile decal in history, but wouldn't you know it, it almost didn't happen. One of the designers put it on the pre-production prototype, and upon seeing it, the Pontiac boss went absolutely crazy.
Get that ugly shit off my car.
He didn't. Instead, he took the car out, cruising the streets to see how the public would react, and guess what? They loved it. So the designer begged for it to be offered as an optional extra.
Fine.
Once the Pontiac boss realized that most cars in fact did have the Firebird sticker option ticked, he started to love it too. What an ass. Number 31, have you noticed that the Mustangs usually don't have any Ford badges? I say usually because the Fox Body generation usually doesn't have any Mustang badges instead. Again, usually because the Fox Body SVT version did have them.
Make it make sense.
Number 32, Number 32, no muscle car engine is quite as famous as 426 Hemi. If you had that, you were basically better than everyone else. This elephant of a V8 produced 425 horses and nearly 500 pound-feet of torque. Put that in any car and you're pretty much guaranteed to win a drag race. Number 33, just to make this clear, not every engine with hemispherical combustion chambers is a Hemi. Hemi is just Chrysler's trademark name for such engines. Other manufacturers which also experimented with the Hemi chambers include Alfa, Aston, BMW, Lambo, Mercedes, Mitsubishi, Porsche, Toyota, hell, even the Mustang 429 Boss was a Hemi. Funny thing, when Chrysler brought the V8 back in 2003, the engine didn't have a hemispherical set of chambers, but they still called it a Hemi. Number 34. When talking about horsepower in those classic cars, we're talking gross value. Before 1971, the engines were dyno tested without air cleaners, accessories, and exhaust systems attached. So that 425 Hemi is more like 350 with everything bolted onto it. Number 35. Meanwhile, Ford and many others downplayed the power of their cars on purpose. Ford said this Cobra jet made 335, which it did at 3,500 RPM. Keep the foot down and you'll get over 400 horses before redline. Number 36, this down rating was done to keep the insurance premiums low. Tricksy hobbits. More power means more likely you'll crash, and insuring such highly risky cars was starting to get expensive enough that it affected their sales numbers. Solution? Simple, just lie about how much power it makes. Number 37, out of the planned 50, only one 1967 Shelby Mustang Super Snake was made. It has a racing V8 from the Le Mans winning GT40, and after Ford heard how much he would have to sell it for in order to make a profit, he thought no one would pay that much and canceled it. So what was this big scary number? $8,000, or 79 large in today's money. That's it, and that's nothing if you ask me. Different times, man, different times. Number 38, this tiny AMC AMX is the only two-seater muscle car coupe. All the others have rear seats too, and let's be honest, Corvettes are not muscle cars, they just have muscle engines. Number 39, meanwhile, the Dodge Demon came out of the factory with just one seat as standard, and you can get others installed, but it's gonna cost you $1 whole dollar. Number 40, I know it's shaped like a wagon, but the 1970 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser with the optional 455 V8 is a 325 horsepower muscle car which can seat 9 people and do 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. That's faster than what the Camaro SS would do. Number 41, despite accelerating quicker than the old Hellcat, when the Daytona EV was introduced, more buyers went for the leftover inventory of V8 models than this new and supposedly better EV muscle. Number 42, Plymouth paid Warner Brothers $50,000 for the rights to use the Roadrunner name and the mascot and the beep beep sound for the horn. However, when it came to naming this car after the Tasmanian Devil, the price was just too high, so Plymouth named it the Duster and created their own damn tornado mascot with eyes. And blackjack and hook. Number 43, Sports Car Club of America wasn't too happy when they saw the Firebird Trans Am using the name of their Trans Am racing series without their permission. They were about to take GM to court, but then GM made them an offer they couldn't refuse.
We'll pay you $5 for each Trans Am we sell.
You will?
Number 44, ironically, the Firebird Trans Am was ineligible to compete in the Trans Am series because its smallest engine was too large for the series rules. Number 45, Hellcats have an eco mode. Let me repeat that. Hellcats have an eco mode.
You serious?
Number 46. Ever wonder why they named this upgraded Demon version the Demon 170? Well, that number refers to the 170 proof alcohol content of the E85 ethanol fuel it can run on to achieve its peak 1,025 horsepower. Also, E85 is made out of corn, which is yellow, just like the Demon's eye. How could you not know with a hint like that? Number 47, as part of the marketing for the upcoming AMX, AMC prepared and then ran 2 AMXs until they broke 106 speed records in just a few days. Not bad for the mini-Mia muscle cars. Number 48, American V8 engines didn't just power the American muscle cars, but some European exotics too. The Tommaso Pantera, Iso Grifo, Monteverde, and lastly, the Koenigsegg CC8. Number 49, this topless Charger concept car was never given the name, so officially, it's called the car with no name. Number 50, take it out of eco mode, bury your foot into the floor, and you'll empty Hellcat's full tank of fuel in just 15 minutes. Number 51, the Demon 170 is powered by a 6.2-liter V8, which isn't the biggest size ever, but then again, the 3-liter supercharger that's forcing the air into it is. Think about it, 3-liter supercharger. That alone is bigger than the entire engine in the Ferrari F80. Number 52, Dodge Challenger has cup holders under the hood. It's like they knew you'd be spending a lot of time in there, so here, a place for your beer. Thanks, Dodge. Would have been better if you made a more reliable engine instead. Number 53, the Oldsmobile Rally 350 didn't sell well because it was, according to the potential buyers, too yellow? That's why some dealers added black vinyl roofs, regular wheels, and chrome bumpers to make it somewhat easier on the eyes. Number 54, EVs don't make noise, which is a problem if you're making an electric muscle car. So Dodge gave their new Charger Daytona EV a fake noise coming from this speaker system called a Fratsonic exhaust. I guess it's better than nothing, and it can go as loud as 126 decibels, but there's no getting away from the fact that it's fake. And let's be honest, the only fake thing that's acceptable is a set of fake boobs.
True.
Number 55, it's hard to tell which muscle car had the most power since the manufacturers downrated them to avoid high insurance costs. But officially, it was the Chevelle SS 454 LS6 with 450 horsepower. Number 56. Funny thing, the Chevelle was never meant to have such a large V8, but seeing how the incoming emissions laws would ruin everything, GM finally gave it a green light to make it the meanest and baddest muscle car ever. Number 57, originally the Oldsmobile 442 stood for 4-barrel carburetors, 4 speeds and 2 exhaust. As the model evolved through the years, Olds tried to redefine the meaning until they gave up and just rolled with it. Number 58, the most valuable muscle car today is the 1971 Hemi Cuda convertible. Only 11 were produced, and the last time one of these holy grails of muscle cars worlds changed hands, the asking price was $3.5 million, and that was in 2014. Who knows how much they'd go for now?
$700 billion and $1.3 trillion.
Number 59, the Mustang GT from the movie Bullitt nearly sold for more than the topless Cuda, but that's only because it was in the movie. Otherwise, the average price you'd expect for a 68 Mustang GT Fastback is around $80K. Number 60, to make the Dodge Charger faster at NASCAR, Chrysler brought in an actual rocket scientist from their ballistics missile division to make it more aerodynamic. His solution,
It needs to be pointy.
and yes, you heard that right, Chrysler also made ballistic weapons. Number 61, it worked! This Charger Daytona was the first car to go over 200 miles per hour during a race. It, and later its brother from Plymouth, the Superbird, dominated NASCAR so hard that the race organizers outright banned them. Number 62, because NASCAR is a stock car race, like what you can buy in the showrooms, Dodge and Plymouth had to sell these winged warriors to the public too. There was just one problem. The public thought these cars were just too ugly. Ugh. Some dealers even went so far as to retrofit regular front ends to them to just get rid of them, which, when you look at their value now, turned out to be a huge mistake.
Well, shit.
Number 63, thanks to the combination of huge power and super slick, super sticky tires, the Dodge Demon is the first production car that can do a wheelie. Number 64, the Demon was also the first production car to do a quarter mile in under 10 seconds, which was, believe it or not, too fast. According to NHRA, cars going under 9 seconds need to have the safety roll cage installed to be eligible, and the Demon didn't have one. So they disqualified its time and banned the car from competing as is. Surprisingly, Dodge was pleased with that.
Being banned from the NHRA with this car at first sounds like a negative, but reality is it's really huge street credibility for this car.
Number 65, last one about the Demon, I promise. Its tires, while clearly made for drag racing, are somehow still road legal. Dodge is aware that they don't work well outside the drag strip, which is why they make each buyer sign a waiver, releasing Dodge from any responsibility if they spin out, crash, or die.
No me fault.
Number 66, although Firebird and Camaro are pretty much the same car just with different ends, the Chevy Pony car was always outselling its Pontiac twin, and by a lot, until the Smokey and the Bandit movies came out. Thanks to this newfound Hollywood fame, for the next 5 years, it was the Trans Am that was on top of the sales charts. Number 67, some say that the rear wing of the Charger Daytona is raised so high so that you can fully open the trunk. Yeah, right, as if the race organizers care about something like the size of the trunk opening. No, the wing's there because that's where the clean, laminal air is. Ooh, you learned a word for the day. Number 68, I bet you didn't know this one because, well, you weren't meant to. But the SR-71 Blackbird, that cool-looking spy plane, used a pair of Buick V8s as starter motors. The same V8s that were also used in the badass Skylark and Riviera Grand Sports.
Nice.
Before unveiling, 180 pre-production Mustangs were sent to dealers across the United States and Canada in preparation for the event. The chassis number 1 ended up in Canada. And guess what? It got sold 3 days before the big day. You know how Canadians are, over-the-top polite? Some guy, Stanley, begged to buy it, and the Canadian dealer went, all right. Ford was furious, but the transaction was made, so they couldn't do much except beg to buy it back. It took a couple of years before Stanley finally gave in. You can have it if you give me the 1,000,000th one ever made. Sir, you've got yourself a deal. Number 70. Meanwhile, the first Mustang sold in the United States went to a 22-year-old elementary teacher, Gail Wise. She still drives it. Gotta admit, as grannies go, this one has to be one of the coolest ones. Number 71, what ultimately killed the powerful muscle cars from the 60s and early 70s was a combination of stricter emission laws, higher fuel prices, and higher insurance premiums.
Beautifully.
Number 72, for whatever reason, GM has this rule against putting engines over 400 cubic inches into mid-sized bodies, meaning the fastest muscle cars that were made were never as fast as they could be. Enter the COPO program, through which the dealer could offer fleets of cars with options that aren't available for some models. Think yellow color for taxis, or upgraded suspensions for police cars, or an all-aluminum ZL1 V8 from the Can-Am race cars to be fitted in the Camaro. One dealer ordered 69 of those, and guess what? GM delivered! Needless to say, these COPO Camaros were some of the absolute fastest cars at the time, but they looked like the base models with straight sixes. So, good luck figuring out which one you're up against.
Oh, shit.
Number 73. Okay, it's time to tell you about that muscle car with the Ferrari V12. It's the Pontiac Firebird Pegasus, a one-off concept car which, aside from the Ferrari engine, also had the Ferrari-inspired design. It was a personal project by GM's design chief Bill Mitchell to see if he could make European exotics too, if he wanted. Number 74. In 2004, Pontiac resurrected the GTO by rebadging the Australian Holden Monaro. Honestly, it was a good car.
Okay, good car, good car, good car, good car. Yeah.
But without the retro styling, which was all the rage in the early 2000s, this GTO was simply doomed to fail. And so, it did. 75. In 1965, Hertz started a rent-a-racer program where you could get a Shelby GT350 for just $70 per day. Even then, that was a bargain.
It's amazing.
Number 76. Everyone thought that Chevy's rival to the Mustang would be called the Panther. After all, it's what GM kept saying during the weeks ahead of the unveiling. They even made a Panther set of badges for it, but then the curtains came off and suddenly it's a Camaro. Well, what the hell does that mean? Asked the crowd of journalists. The answer the GM rep gave was legendary. It's a small, vicious animal that eats Mustangs for breakfast. Number 77. Obviously, there's no small, vicious animal that eats horses. So what does Camaro really mean? Many think it's French for pal, a friend, a comrade, which would make sense since Chevy's founder, Louis Chevrolet, was a Frenchie himself. But no, Camaro is not a French word. It's just made up one that sounded cool. Hey, look at me. I'm busting myths over here. Get your myths busted. Get your myths busted. 5 for $5. Number 78, by hollowing out the Chevy logo at the front of the 2014 Camaro Z28, the engineers found that the engine would run 2 degrees cooler. This badge is now called the Flow Tie. They also gave it a thinner rear window, which saved 400 grams from total weight. These things might seem irrelevant, but if you want to dethrone the Mustang, no stone is left unturned. 79. Ford recalled the 1999 SVT Cobra because the buyers complained that it was too slow. And yeah, it was. Turns out that there was an issue with the faulty intake manifold, so Ford halted the sales and recalled every car sold to make sure that they are all at their full potential. Number 80. In his song Racing in the Street, Bruce Springsteen sings,
I got a 69 Chevy with a 396, Julie heads and a hearse on the floor.
Wait. The Fuelie heads go on the small block 327. They don't fit on the big block 396. Honestly, I would expect better from someone who got inducted into the Songwriter Hall of Fame. Not salty. Number 81. Another thing classic muscle cars are famous for are the crazy color options with even crazier names which emphasize their wild characters. Think Hugger Orange Camaro, Grabber Blue Mustang, Red, White, and Blue AMC, and a whole slew of Mopar high-impact colors. Sassy Grass, Hemi Orange, Plum Crazy, Go Mango, Rally Green, Panther Pink, and, my nickname in college, Top Banana. Number 82, by 1996, the color-shifting paint jobs were nothing new or special, but this mystic factory option for the Mustang was. Not just because it was changing between green, magenta, and amber, but because the pigment that went into it was the exact same pigment that went into making the dollar bills. For obvious counterfeit reasons, it's not something that you can just buy off the shelf, so the Fed agents were sent to monitor the painting process, just in case a gallon of this valuable paint doesn't go missing. Number 83, still not done with the Mustang colors. You can pay $2,000 to block anyone from using the exact same color as you have on your $300,000 GTD. It's to prevent people from copying your unique spec and making it less special. Number 84, what do this Challenger and this Mercedes E-Class have in common? The chassis. Kinda. Let me explain. After Daimler and Chrysler joined hands in 1998, a lot of parts got shared between the cars, and one of those parts were the E-Class underpinnings, which got modified and used for the Challenger all the way until 2023. No wonder they handle like boats. Number 85, have you ever noticed that many classic muscle cars have these same wheels? They're called Magnum 500, and I don't know what it is about them, but they just look right on anything before 1975. Number 86, if you missed out on the original 1968 Bullitt, Ford will happily sell you a tribute version with Bullitt badges, retro black wheels, and of course, dark Highland green color. Number 87, Dodge Challenger skipped the whole $5 per Trans Am name by simply calling it the Challenger TA instead. I mean, that car had side exhaust and a six-pack, aka the triple two-barrel carburetors, so the TA could also mean totally awesome. Number 88, Mustangs are famous for their affinity towards crowd surfing. We all know that. And while some blame must fall on the inexperienced drivers behind the wheels, there's also something in the fact, too, that the Mustang didn't have independent rear suspension as standard until 2015. Before then, Ford used the live rear axle, which is just a beam that connects the two wheels. So if one hits a pothole, both wheels jump. It's the same kind of tech the ancient Romans had on their chariots, too. Number 89. Many of the latest muscle cars come out of the factory with line lock feature. It locks the front wheels so you can easily burn the rear tires and make them all warm and sticky for the drag race. It's not something you can get in your crossover SUV. Number 90. Hellcats come with two keys. Use this black one and you only get 500 horsepower. Only. But use this red one and you get the full power, baby. 707, 720, or 800, depending on your version. Number 91, most hood intakes are part of the hood, but not if you have the shaker hood. Ooh. Here, the intake is bolted to the engine itself, so when you rev it, you can see the intake shaking as it's sticking out. Do you get any benefits over the standard intake? No? Was it super cool? Yes! Number 92, why are Shelby Mustangs with center-mounted high-beam headlights so rare? Because, as it turns out, some US states had laws regarding how close together the headlights can be, so to sell more cars, Shelby had to move them apart. Needless to say, those that got away are now more valuable ones. Number 93, Pontiac GTO The Judge sounds kind of ominous, but actually the Judge name came from Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In sketch comedy show.
Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge.
Whose idea was it to combine a muscle car and a funny phrase anyhow? Number 94, AMC also did a weird combo. They combined a muscle car with French fashion. Check out this AMC Javelin with the funky interior designed by Pierre Cardin. Number 95, in 1969, demand for the Shelby Mustang declined, leading to a surplus of unsold cars, so Ford decided to turn them into 1970 models with front splitters, black hood stripes, and new VIN numbers. Since tampering with VIN numbers is a federal offense, this re-VINning process was done under the supervision of the FBI to make sure nothing shady goes unnoticed. Number 96, the first Chrysler Hemi engine was made for a World War II plane. It was an upside-down 2,200 cubic inches, 2,500 horsepower V16. Number 97, a Mustang Boss 429, you know, the big boss from the 1970s, could do a quarter mile in 13.7 seconds at 102 miles per hour. Compare that to the 2024 Mustang with the base EcoBoost 2.3-liter 4-cylinder, and it's the exact same time. The main takeaway, both engines and the tires have improved a lot in the last 50 years. Number 98, soon after Shelby stopped upgrading Mustangs in 1970, he was approached by a Belgian racing driver who asked for rights to continue the production in Europe. Carroll gave him the green light, and in the next 2 years, he made only 14 more of these European Shelbys. Like I said, the old continent is not exactly a hotbed for muscle cars. Number 99, when I say there's a four-door Mustang, I don't mean the Mach-E electric SUV. I mean this four-door concept from 1964. It was supposed to replace the Falcon, and to be honest, I'm glad that it didn't.
Oh, that's not right.
Number 100, some GM muscle cars came out of the factory equipped with his and hers shifters. What's that? Well, it's a typical dual-gated automatic shifter, but with a dose of 1970s marketing audacity. Left side is hers, where she can find the typical PRNDL.
You mean the Prindle?
Meanwhile, the right side with the notches for manual shifting the gears is his. It's meant for racing. See, honey? I bought this 68 GTO for you, too. And number 101, the Buick GSX Stage 1 was a torque monster. 510 pound-feet was the highest number of any American car until the second-generation Viper came along some 30 years later. With so much twisting power, blowing a tranny was a common thing to do in these Buicks.
Doesn't that make you gay?
Okay, I guess that means something else now, so let's rephrase that. Shattering your transmission was a common thing to do, and your grandma loved it. And that's it. That's all the interesting little facts I know about muscle cars. A big thank you to all the channel supporters who bankrolled this video, and to you for watching until the end. And I will always love you softly. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Cut!